On Global TV News Express, Senate passes bill. In business, reps propose Nigerian citizenship for major foreign investors. On the foreign scene, Hamas claims spokesman killed in Israeli strike on Gaza. And in sports, under 20 AFCON Eagles, uncertain as Ivory Coast pulls out of hosting. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the Global News Express, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, on StarTimes channel 276, and free to air on NightComSat. You can also download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. We'll take a quick break. The news continues shortly. In a bid to reduce excessive salt consumption and curb hypertension and cardiovascular diseases, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has launched a national guideline for sodium reduction. Global Television brings you details. The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has taken a significant step towards promoting public health with the launch of the National Guideline for Sodium Reduction. The guideline sets mandatory sodium limits in processed foods and promotes public education campaigns to raise awareness about the risks associated with excessive sodium consumption. The Honorable Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, unveiled the guideline, emphasizing its significance in addressing the rising burden of non-communicable diseases in Nigeria, while urging the food industry to embrace reformulation and reduce sodium content in processed and packaged foods.
Today also marks another significant milestone as we not only launch the sodium reduction guideline, but also unveil the national guideline for food handlers' medical tests. This guideline is a critical step in ensuring the health and safety of food supply chain by unifying and ensuring regular medical examinations are conducted for food handlers. Together, these guidelines form a cohesive framework that directly supports the implementation of the national policy on food safety and quality and its implementation plan 2023.
Emphasizing Nigeria's commitment to reducing non-communicable diseases associated with excessive sodium intake, DG NAFDAC Professor Mojisola Adeyeye says the World Health Organization recommends reducing sodium intake to less than 5 grams of salt or 2 grams of sodium per day.
The World Health Organization has consistently emphasized the need for sodium reduction as a cost-effective strategy for improving public health outcomes. In line with this, the federal government of Nigeria, through the collaborative effort of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, NAFDAC, and other MDAs, and stakeholders have developed this national guideline as a strategic framework to guide policy implementation, industry reformulation, and public awareness on sodium intake reduction.
Commending the initiative, the Executive Director, CAPA, Akimbode Oluwafemi, says the launch marks another major milestone in safeguarding public health in Nigeria.
Public health through the promotion of healthy diets. And we strongly believe that the effective implementation of the national guideline on sodium reduction in Nigeria will help in no small measure in reducing excessive sodium intake among the populace and thereby reduce cases of cardiovascular diseases and non-communicable diseases in Nigeria.
The launch of the guideline is expected to have a positive impact on the health and well-being of Nigerians and to contribute to the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting. Former President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawan, has donated 27 million naira and 300 bags of rice to the victims of the fire outbreaks in the 3 local government areas of Yobe State. Lawan, who noticed that the unfortunate incident have caused significant losses and hardship, that his thoughts and prayers are with those impacted during the difficult time. According to him, the assistance is aimed at complementing efforts by the Yobe State government to provide immediate relief to the affected families and help them recover from the devastating impact of the fire outbreak.
Benue Geography Information System, BENGIS, is saddled with the responsibility of state funding.
The Benue State government has signed an executive order separating Benue Geographic Information System from the Ministry of Land and Survey, charging them to exhibit high sense of fairness with accurate data of state formations. Felicity Ndere has details.
Benue Geography Information System, BENGIS, is saddled with the responsibility of state formations, location of residential housing, and revenue sources. Governor Hyacinth Alia emphasized the need for the Benue Geography Information System to deliver the mandate needed in the ministry while shying away from corruption and upholding transparency in the discharge of their duties.
I want to know who lives in the state, where, on what street, and what are they doing, how are they paying, how updated are they, and everything. How many establishments do we have? What data are we assembling in the state that regards on revenue? So we need to do this. There's no other person who's coming from outside to up the game.
Director General Benue Geography Information System, BENGIS, Professor Daniel Amine, who expressed delight for the opportunity given them to contribute to their quota in facilitating development of economic activities in the state, assures the governor that his office will give accurate delivery of their mandate.
Outside our statutory responsibility of ensuring that our borders are properly designated and we know exactly where which resources is.
He further noted that the agency is important in areas of safe boundary location as well as identifying criminal hideouts and the purpose of locating security formations. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of new members of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. The appointment was disclosed by Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. Ononuga says Tinubu, in his efforts to reinforce the NCDMB's capacity to grow local content in the oil and gas sector, approved the appointment of 4 members of the board. The Nigerian Senate has passed a bill mandating the compulsory registration of citizens, aiming to overhaul Nigeria's identity management system through the repeal and reenactment of the National Identity Management Commission Act. The passage followed the submission and consideration of a report by the Committee on National Identity Card Population, chaired by Senator Victor Ume, representing Anambra Central. Kikia Lomo-Okere has details.
The Senator representing Anambra Central, Senator Victor Ume, explained that the legislation seeks to establish a harmonized, cost-effective identity system that aligns with global best practices, enhancing data accuracy and closes existing gap in Nigeria's identity database.
Strengthen the legal framework of national and digital identity, thereby creating an optimal foundational identification ecosystem that fosters inclusion, universal coverage, and accessibility. Establish a harmonious foundational identity system that is governed by a less restrictive, less cumbersome, non-discriminatory, non-punitive data protection, cost-effective, and compliance with global best practices.
I pray that this bill will ensure that we have proper record and proper data to plan not just for the current generation, but for future generations of Nigerians. Thank you.
Once signed into law, the bill also provides for the creation of centralized database and a commission responsible for registering citizens and issuing identity cards. Kike Lomo-Okere, Global Television News.
The Nigerian Senate has delayed a motion to immortalize late Professor Humphrey Nwosu, former NEC chairman, on procedural grounds during its March 26, 2025 session. The motion, sponsored by Eyinaya Abaribe, Senator representing Abia South, sought to recognize Nwosu over overseeing the June 12, 1993 presidential election, widely regarded as one of Nigeria's fairest polls. Ramsey Enoch Agbo has details.
The senator representing Abia South, Eyinaya Abaribe, rose under Order 41 and 51, which border on personal explanation to draw the attention of the chamber to the need to immortalize the late INEC boss.
That the courageous defense of democratic electoral process during the 1993 presidential election led to the famous June 12 slogan, which ultimately confirmed Alhaji MKO Abiola as the winner. It's okay.
The development was contrary to the provision of the Senate Standing Order, as the Senate's leader, Senator Bamidele Opeyemi, contended that the order raised by Abaribe was inappropriate and that the plenary had gone beyond the privilege Abaribe would have enjoyed to make senators consider it.
If the Senate are taking a position on a matter, if you still want to insist on bringing it back, you have to come by way of substantive motion. The next legislative day at whatever time, by way of substantive motion for decision of decision.
Earlier, the deputy president of the Senate declared the point of order as controversial and expressed skepticism of its approval by allowing Abaribe to speak to the order.
I'll walk in line with whatever you decide. Of course, it's a bit controversial. Some see him as someone who truncated June 12. Some see him as a hero of June 12. So it's up to you. We'll put the question. Those in favor that this motion should go through, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The days have it.
Reacting to the Senate leader's submission, Senator representing Kebbi North, Yahaya Abdullahi, insisted that Abaribe should be allowed to speak on the matter despite not getting the order correct. Abaribe insisted that the motion to immortalize the late Nwosu wasn't a controversial one as posited by the deputy president of the Senate.
If the Senate leader says that it doesn't follow, by the fact that a senator wants to make a personal explanation, you must give that senator a chance to make that personal explanation. We are not under a dictatorship, Mr. President. That is why I'm using 1B to come.
The deputy president of the Senate, however, advised Abaribe to reintroduce the motion at the next legislative session. Jibrin upheld Bamidele's position and ruled that the Senate should proceed with its agenda.
Against tomorrow, bring it to the rules and business, and then we'll look at it again. Your point of order is upheld.
Beyond the Senate motion, groups like the Coalition for Immortalization of Professor Humphrey Nwosu, former INEC chairman Professor Atahiru Jega, and current INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu have urged national honors, that is GCON, CFR, and renaming INEC's headquarters after him. Ramsey Enoch reporting for Global Television News.
The 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Bayero, has announced the cancellation of the Eid al-Fitr Durbar celebration due to security concerns in the state. Emir Bayero made this announcement while briefing newsmen at his Nasarawa Mini Palace in Kano. He says that the peaceful coexistence of the people takes precedence over Durbar celebration. Emir Bayero had initially planned to hold the Durbar celebration, which would have coincided with his 50th anniversary on the throne. The Nigerian Senate has mandated the Senate Committee on Communications to investigate the recent increase in the cost of data and recommend solutions for a more sustainable and business-friendly telecommunications sector. The Red Chamber also asked the ministry to develop a policy framework for affordable internet services in Nigeria. Our correspondent Samuel Odi has details.
Those are part of the resolution after a debate on a bill sponsored by Senator Asukwon Ekpeyong, which highlights the financial strain the price hike has placed on millions of Nigerians, particularly young people who rely on affordable internet access for their livelihoods. Senator Ekpeyong had in his motion kicked against the recent increase in the cost of data and other services by telecommunication operators, calling for an urgent review.
The Senate is further concerned that the reasons provided by telecom providers for the data price hike include high operational costs, unfavorable exchange rates, are untenable, and appears that instead of addressing the root causes of the high cost of doing business in Nigeria, the burden is being unfairly transferred to end users.
Senators anonymously endorsed the motion at the section which was presided over by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
When you are suffering on the cost of telecommunication services, you are suffering on the high cost of electricity, you are suffering on the high cost of digital television services. The costs are quite high on Nigerians.
President, my distinguished colleagues, much as the high cost of data affects everyone in this country, including my humble self, but I'm particularly interested in this because of the manner it affects the young men who are in larger population in this country, who are the most productive sector. They rely on data to acquire, resources that we are not able to provide for them. We can't give them jobs.
Motion, when implemented, will assist particularly our young entrepreneurs, not only to remain in business, but to ensure that they have affordable pricing that will also generate revenue and profits for them. So I thank you for bringing this motion. I thank my colleagues for their contributions and for the amendments done to the prayers. I thank you. So congratulations for this.
The Senate, however, asked Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy to engage with telecommunication providers to review data costs and ensure that pricing remains fair and affordable for all Nigerians. Samuel Odi, reporting for Global Television News.
The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar Badaru, has pledged the federal government's determination to improve facilities at Depot Nigerian Army to enhance training and enable the institution to fulfill its mandate. A statement issued by Major Everest Ochienta, Assistant Director of Army Public Relations, Depot Nigerian Army, says the minister made the pledge during an assessment visit to Depot Nigerian Army at Chindit Cantonment, Zaria, Kaduna State. The minister promised that his ministry would leave no stone unturned in ensuring that Chindit Primary School receives an upgrade in facilities to meet modern standards as a means of boosting the morale of officers and soldiers of the cantonment whose wards are beneficiaries. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, has stressed that a harmonious relationship between state governments and mining operators is crucial, not only for attracting investments, but also for advancing the nation's mining sector. The minister made this known during a mediation parley with Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke and representatives from Segilola Resources Operating Limited at his office in Abuja. Sharon Ajay has details.
The Minister of Solid Mineral Development, Dr. Dele Alake, emphasized that solid minerals play a central role in the federal government's economic diversification agenda. He noted that efforts in this regard would be jeopardized in a sector riddled with conflicting policies and strained relations between operators and state governments. The minister therefore urged an amicable resolution of the disputes between Osun State and Segilola Resources Operating Limited, highlighting that the state stands to benefit from an environment that promotes industrial harmony and eases the business climate, noting that such conditions will lead to increased revenue and attract foreign direct investment.
There is a multiplicity of authorities in an environment, in a society. It discourages foreign investors, because if I have my capital, I want to come to your place. Of course. I want your rules and regulations to be streamlined. Yeah. Not that today the governor will issue one, tomorrow the local government will issue a counter, another time a ward government or whatever. Yeah. So, yes, it discourages a potential investor that which one will I obey, which one will I infringe on, and all of that. Yes. And nobody wants to waste capital in this day and age. Yes. So once they see those negative indicators, they move their capital elsewhere.
Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke expressed the state's commitment to improving the ease of doing business while ensuring that ethical standards are upheld. He reiterated the state government's readiness to reach a compromise with the company to ensure smooth mining operations in Osun.
I must, through your commend Mr. President, for ongoing reform of the nation's mining sector. We took hints from the presidential reform initiatives in the mining sector to launch our own reforms at the state level. I'm, however, happy that the intervention of the ministry has produced positive results. We are elated as a government that is committed to ease of doing business.
After deliberations and the minister's mediation, both parties pledged to continue discussions to resolve any outstanding issues. The resolution culminated in the presentation of the state shareholding certificate to Governor Adeleke by Segilola Resources Limited. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
In business, a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 to include citizenship by investment as one of the classes of citizenship in Nigeria scaled second reading at the House of Representatives. The Citizenship by Investment Bill, which is among the Constitution Amendment Bills presently before the House of Representatives, seeks to alter the Constitution to introduce a new class of citizenship known as citizenship by investment. The bill provides for the acquisition of Nigerian citizenship by qualified foreign investors who meet specified investment thresholds. Moving on, in sports now, Nigerian Women Football League champions Edo Queens defeated host Abia Angels 2-1 at the Umuahia Township Stadium. Edo Queens winger Osigu Goodness scored the opening goal in the 35 minutes through a penalty kick. The host team came back stronger into the games, but the defending champions banked on experience to ward off the Angels' attack. As we end the Global TV News Express, let's take a quick look at some of our top stories. The Nigerian Senate has passed a bill mandating the compulsory registration of citizens, aiming to overhaul Nigerians' identity management system through the repeal and reenactment of National Identity Management Commission Act. In business, a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 to include citizenship by investment as one of the classes of citizenship in Nigeria scaled second reading. On the foreign scene, Hamas says an Israeli airstrike killed one of its official spokesmen in Gaza. And in sports, Nigeria's Flying Eagles have been thrown into uncertainty after the shocking withdrawal of Ivory Coast as host of the 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. And that's it on the News Express. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG, another handle is now showing on your screen. You can also download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.